What's going on? Who's this?
It's Mackenzie. It's Jake.
Oh, yeah, what's up, Mackenzie? My bad.
Hey, what's up, dude? Thanks for calling back.
No worries. Yeah, my apologies. Just playing TM to 11 dudes is a little harder and more time-consuming than I'd imagined.
Yeah. No worries.
You want to do these questions real quick?
Yeah, let's get on it. Let me just open up the file here. Damn. Yeah, what was up with the skydiving? Was that the first time you went skydiving?
Yeah, it was. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and yeah, we just figured first destination was Vegas, and they had a bunch of skydiving options out there, and got a bunch of buddies to do it with me. I think that was the thing. I just never had anybody who was like, yeah, I want to do it with you,
Yeah.
It's definitely important.
That's right.
Another thing though, dude, it was actually like really, really cool, and all of us who did it, like the rest of the day while we were skating, we were like super confident, like not worried about anything, dude. Just everything, just going for it, like, you know what I mean? Smashing my knee on ledges, and like you don't even like think about it. It's like pain doesn't. I don't know. Like pain is like less painful or something.
That's like you should do. That should be your new training regimen. You got to skydive before you film your.
Dude, we met the dude who trained Bob Burnquist. He's like, yeah, you know Bob Burnquist? I was training him. Like he was skydiving in 2003. He invited me to his house. Like he trained him and stuff. Yeah, I mean it works for Bob. He's doing some crazy shit. I'm sure.
Did you do like the
acai berries and stuff and jumping out of planes?
Yeah, Did you do like the tandem one, like with the dude, or?
Yeah, that was the only way we could do it.
Yeah, you need like the license for. Otherwise.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick, dude. Yeah, I always wanted to try it. Never done it, but that's fucking rad. All right, cool. Like, I guess first off, you're still living in Pittsburgh, or? Yeah.
I'm still kind of living in Pittsburgh. I've been away for like a month and a half, nearly.
Yeah.
I actually just bought a van that we're taking on this tour, and I'm kind of planning on. Yeah, it's like a mini workshop van, and I'm kind of planning on living in that part-time out in SF, like, because it's a conversion van.
Yeah.
It's got a nice little, chill little bedded area and stuff, and I got homies along the way. I've been wanting to do it, like, to basically, like, spend time in different cities, but, like, kind of full-time, having, like, a subletted apartment or some kind of way to live there, and I came to the conclusion that buying a van would probably be the best and cheapest way to do that, because I already know so many people that could help me out with showering and, internet and stuff like that I could go from city to city or town to town and live and skate and just live there, because, I've been visiting these towns like Detroit and Asheville and out in, even in some smaller towns in Pennsylvania like Bethlehem.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to like stay there and actually, get a feel for the town and skate and film. So I'm gonna probably be doing that and be doing these small tours and using the van to get, homies and other team members out and about and kind of just skating and doing my thing that way for the next year. But yeah, my headquarters are still in Pittsburgh. My taxes are filed through that address and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's sick. The van option. That's like the Sibo. Sibo Rocker. Like he kind of lives in a van kind of out here by Stoner Park.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of rad. Like, it's kind of similar strategy. Like, he's just been chilling there, and he's fucking skates. Like, he kind of showers. He has, like, a gym membership, so he showers at the gym, like, kind of around there.
Oh, that's genius.
But, yeah, it's kind of worked. Like, he's kind of come up and gotten, like, sponsors and stuff just fucking from driving out. It's kind of rad.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it'll be a cool way to just experience different skate scenes and kind of get to know the people that make them up, and that's the most fun thing for me is just getting into another city and just kind of figuring it out and making the most of it. So it's gonna be fun, dude.
Yeah, I was reading. I read some stuff where you're talking about kind of like a lot of small towns and small town kind of videos. Like you're talking about kind of the message, like the message of skateboarding kind of being passed through those kind of local scenes. Like, is that something you like kind of seek out, like kind of?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I'm building. Like my beliefs for it. I'm trying to build them up and make it basically do what I can to kind of support those things. And I don't know. I'm learning the longer I'm in the industry that it is a very like fragile thing. I got dropped from Quicksilver this last year.
Oh shit.
After putting in all kinds of time and effort, trying to, make the company, legitimize the company, and kind of support the scenes that I was involved in, and making headway with that, with Bill Strobeck getting on board for the video after we collaborated on some, internet clips, and them doing a lot of work in New York and getting us apartments, and then all of a sudden, a big time investment from above just cuts the whole thing, and everybody's dropped, and, because the bottom line for that company is making their money off of, tourist location shops that sell people swimming suits so they can go swim in the, like waterfall pool in Las Vegas. I'm right at a hotel that sells the Quicksilver gear all over the place.
Totally.
For me, I'm starting to realize that, I got to benefit from, the money and the support of those companies, but in the end, my career, it's going to last through kind of, what I deliver with my skateboarding, but also through the support from the core shops and the people who, who put their life and their, entire energy and body, like mind into skateboarding the same way that I do. It's not going to come from, a bunch of people on a board of trustees or even the, you know what I mean, some of the execs that work for them, or a lot of the skateboarders that that started a lot of these companies have gotten older and they're into their retirement and they're trying to just keep themselves alive and keep their companies afloat and support their families. So it's everybody's kind of going at it their own way, but for me, I'm trying to go from the ground up and kind of do it that way from now on out.
Like grassroots kind of.
Yeah, it's because my conclusion is that that's the best way for me, for anybody to run their business and run an industry. It's because if you give to someone, they're going to give back to you, and I want to see skateboarding grow for everyone, and basically it get filter into our society, but not in a diluted way. I want to see skate parks and skateboarding everywhere, but I don't want to see it, you know what I mean? I want to see it done the right way, and I think that skateboarders have a lot more to offer than just entertaining people. I think we can, we can innovate in a lot of ways, and I don't know. That's probably the best way to do it is just raise awareness and communication. So.
I think it's rad. Like the idea of the true message of skateboarding. Like it almost seems like there's definitely two kinds of companies involved in skateboarding. There's companies that might not get the message, but they see that it's popular with kids. Like you said, like maybe Quicksilver or something. They kind of want to like co-opt the popularity, and then there's like basically people that really understand like that there's something deeper than just riding a skateboard, I guess like what do you see as like kind of the true message of it, I read somewhere you're saying like even in the old videos like there's just something bigger than like just the music and like the sum total of it, Is that kind of
it's the message of skating, I think, is that
like the soul of it's kind of
it's
way in there.
It comes from your basically your experience as you in the act of skateboarding and the ideas that develop along the way. Like that's what I was talking about in the message of the first generation of skateboarders, is that what they were representing was extremely like separate from what society had ever seen. So it was a very destructive force in the beginning because they ran into so much opposition.
Yeah, they were kind of fighting society.
But at the same time, what skateboarders what they were trying to say was that nobody really owns property. We all kind of share it. You take a piece of granite out of the earth and make it into something that people sit on, and it makes your business money, but you don't actually own that. And I think the message of skateboarders is that, we don't own those things or our thoughts or any of that stuff. We just, when you experience it, and you use it, then you become a part of it, and you heighten your sense of awareness to reality. And that's what gives skateboarders a head up and an advantage. And that's what gives them a motivation deep down. If you don't understand, whether you don't understand that or not, and that's what should give skateboarders their motivation. And nowadays, it's turning from that into more of like a competitive thing where skateboarders are, they're trying to do it to impress an online community or to impress a board of trustees or to impress, you know what I mean, get some kind of a place. And so that's the bottom line, is that skateboarding is an intimate relationship with your reality, like through, you know, challenging yourself to get to face the nature of reality through, you know, a piece of wood to go against gravity, pretty much, and the conclusions you come to as you run into problems, and you know what I mean, like trials and tribulations along the way. We run into security and people who want to try and stop us from doing that. That's the nature of our culture, and if we learn how to maneuver around them more smoothly, then we become more efficient beings, and we basically are evolving.
Boy. Yeah, it almost seems like also on like the guy that owns or wants to own the granite block or whatever. It seems like they have a similar approach to where they could basically own skateboarding, you know?
Yeah, exactly. They want to own it and regulate it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, make it quantifiable, so like, okay, this is worth X amount of points. Now you're basically the best because you have the most points. You know what I mean? It's like trying to quantify, like, art or something, you know? Like, it's probably impossible, but they keep trying to...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's you're right. It's something that people are trying to. Yeah, you said it pretty well there. Yeah.
Okay.
I just wrote like a huge like write up, so I'm in like
philosophy.
I'm in college mode.
Yeah, no, it's right. I think it's interesting because it is. It's like the same thing. I wrote like an essay about it a long time ago too, but the same thing kind of like punk rock kind of went through like a similar thing, where it was like really popular as like all these kids hated their governments, hated their job prospects, and so they started this whole thing, and then basically it became marketable. And like what happens when like the thing you were doing to rebel against is like basically now bought by the people you were rebelling against, you know?
Exactly, yeah. It happens to like it happens to a lot of those movements, really, because
exactly.
Because it's like it's old as Cain and Abel, really, you know?
Yeah.
It's just humans' faults. Like a lot of people just don't, there's just too much competition, and when everybody starts dipping their hand in, the image starts getting distorted, or the idea starts getting distorted, and then the next generation gets a distorted idea, and then it just goes from there.
Yeah. I think even kids that know nothing about it, though, like when they see the real thing, they know it. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh shit, I want that. Yeah, like they want that way more than what they're being told to, like, you should want this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But when they see it, they're like, okay, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I hope that they still have, like, they can still, there's still hope for, all these kids that are being exposed to it, to see something or to have something that moves them. But it's going to get harder and harder as more and more companies, bigger companies, start stretching skateboarding further and further. And in my opinion, it's a lot of what that's doing is, and a lot of people that say, it's as long as more people are skating, as long as more people are seeing it, it's good. I think that's false, because I think that it should be about less is more. It should be a more focused on less people, like a more core group of people, because you can get a message out to a lot of people, but they're not going to make healthy decisions unless they understand what they're doing.
It's almost like
it's not going to come back to support you. It's actually going to come back to haunt you. You may have a high standard of living for a moment, because so many people are into it, and then the next moment you drop and you've made a mistake. It's happened to me, man. I was in 7th grade, and I was the coolest kid because everybody skated. It was 2000, 2001. Tony Hawk had just come out. The X Games had just come out, and everybody in my grade was buying skate stuff. I was trading shoes with everybody. Every birthday party was at a skate park. It was, you know what I mean? And I was like the leader. I was like, this is awesome. Like, we're taking over our school. Like, everybody knows us, and all the girls think skating is cool. And then literally the very next year, I was the only one doing it. I had no friends. Everybody was jocks, or, you know what I mean? Skate club or whatever. Like, everybody was just doing something else because.
And they're like, you're still skateboarding? Like.
And then as I got into high school, it's like it was even further and further. I just wore a hood all day and just didn't look at anybody. But that's that's kind of, I guess I learned from a young age that fucking people, buy into stuff real quick, and I don't know, skateboarding isn't for everybody, I was skating with kids that year that were wearing helmets and, you know what I mean, like, trying their best and having fun, but, like, they would, it was just, I guess, too frustrating for them, or they didn't get the message clearly enough that kept them going, so they just dropped it and, picked up other small-town hobbies that, were a lot more destructive for them.
Yeah, right. Like driving a monster truck and partying or something.
Yeah, just all that bullshit, dude, that comes from small-town America.
Yeah.
And really, and from the power dynamic of,
that's the way.
All the industries that make up our country, which a lot of them have similar.
Yeah, they're like predatory. I had one thought, and then we'll move on to some more basic questions. Like, no, I could talk about it all day too. But, I was thinking, the argument, well, the more skaters, the better. It's kind of like if you, think about fast food. Like, let's say we were, skateboarding's like this tiny little organic restaurant that makes, amazing food. It's, artistic, basically. And then the argument's like, okay, well, change that into a fast food restaurant and sell it to everybody. That's kind of the argument people have for skateboarding. No, well, the more people that skate, the better, But not if it's, what I mean? The argument's kind of flawed if it's going to be, fast food at the end,
Yeah.
That's kind of the way.
Yeah, well, if you did that, you would have to have, people that are just as passionate about the food that you made and that you created in every single one of your shops. You can't just hire anybody, and you can't just hand out the responsibility of that to anybody.
Exactly. And by definition, the more people do something, the blander that thing gets. That's just a fucking reality,
Yeah.
It's impossible for everyone to be into, the cool core, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Fuck it, I don't know. Anyways, but so you had the going pro part in the cinematographer deal. Were you out at the awards? Did you?
Yeah, I was there. I was hidden in a corner somewhere, but I was there.
How was that? Seeing that whole thing come to fruition?
It was stressful. It was a stressful video to work on because I was coming off of a pretty, the worst injury of my life, and I just take put a lot of responsibility on myself when I'm filming.
Yeah.
I find that filming and the interpretation of skating is really the only thing that we have other than doing it by ourselves. So it's very important to me. So I take it real seriously, and I've had a lot of second thoughts and distrust about the HD and the dynamic that goes with filming HD. So it was a tough project, and we only had I only had 3 months of really solid time, and even within that 3 months, because I had to film with Benny the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tough when you have to film with just one skater and you have one filmer and you have a short period of time to do it.
Is it only because of the HD? Is that the main restriction for HD? Would you say just because you got to have a dude that has an HD camera, or?
Basically, the dude that has to have the HD camera, which is a restriction because he has to spend a significant amount of money on it.
Yeah.
Secondly, because it's a pretty heavy and very cinematic piece of equipment. So if you're spending that much money on it, then you're probably trying to use it for a kind of more of a higher end production. And so your whole mentality going into filming is going to have to be more production based. What spot, what location, what area, and not only that, you're going to be trying to use these highly defined qualities to stylize your footage and I think that the problem with HD that I see is that it's going to cause kids to think that there's this standard that they have to meet, and it's going to create more of more planned out, more structured style of filming, and kids aren't going to be able to take a camera and hand it to their friend, skate all day long. It's just something that it does have its value, and it's obviously HD is changing, and I'm starting to like seeing the styles develop a little more. And when HD first came out, nobody really knew how to use the camera, and it was kind of just a mess of footage mixing together and all this stuff. So you know, I was filming with Benny a lot, and I started to, you know, understand his style a little more and start to respect that. And so it wasn't the end of the world, but I definitely don't think that the VX is dead or should be.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be like a little comeback for the VX where it becomes like?
I hope so. I hope that I can be at the forefront of it because I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to push that in my skating, and basically I think a lot of people jumped on board with the HD because of all the pressure from the industry to do so, and they basically are helping just kill the VX faster. When I think you could keep the thing alive a lot longer, and really the experience. I mean, think about it. Skateboarding's the prime of street skateboarding it was translated by the VX. It's this nostalgic thing, but not only that, it's a quality of the experience, the sound of the audio, the ability to get close into each spot with the fisheye, with the Mark 1. Like, these things are what basically, like, I don't know, it's what gave... it
made the community, too, like, everyone had a VX, whereas now it's, like, it's pretty rare that a dude has it. You know what I mean? It makes it less accessible, I guess?
Yeah, it definitely makes skateboarding, I think, a little less accessible, and I don't like that, you know, there's gonna have to be... I don't like the standards. I don't like, you need to be... You know, what is it going to be? Some kid has a sponsor tape sent out to a company. If it's not in HD, they won't look at it or something like that. You know, it's like, we can't do this, we can't do that. And I obviously, I don't think it'll get to that point. And there's a lot of cameras that are coming out that are HD quality, that are, you know, easy to use, and that are, you can flip them around and kind of keep them. They're still small and, you know, using those CLRs. But I still think that, like I said, the skateboarding is, you know, you translate it through your own eyes or through a filmer or a photographer. So, in order to basically show other people and let other people experience skateboarding, it's the most important thing that we have. So, I think that it's not just the nostalgia that's coming from that quality of that camera. It's not just something I grew up with, and the kids of the next generation are going to grow up with it. It's not like it's the same, because there is a difference between the way that skating is interpreted and the way that and the emotion that you get as you watch it, because the audio and the visual effects are basically all you have in that regard.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I feel like HD feels like you're being presented with something like, oh, this is amazing, look at this, these people doing this, and then like VX is like you're there with the dude. You're one of the skaters.
Yeah.
You know, like it's basically like showing someone from outside skating, or like you're one of the skaters. Like,
I've never heard that reference, but that's basically that's exactly how I feel too.
Like you're in the trenches, basically.
I say that HD puts a wall of glass between you and the skateboarder, and that's exactly what you said. It's presenting somebody as if it's like a museum.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. There they are. Like, look at them, but you can't really. And it feels sometimes even like a video game, you know.
Yeah, totally.
And that's why it disconnects me emotionally from the footage, and not only that, the HD encourages, I think, like more of the internet, constant internet updating and internet parts and all these things, which are also bad for skating and are being washed away, you know, into the gray internet zone, and because they don't have any emotion to them, so people don't cling to them. And for me, I organized my whole life like around skate videos, when they were coming out, what year they came out, you know what I mean, all of that. So my childhood was basically like, you know, was framed up based on expectation and the premieres of these videos.
Totally.
And I just don't know what kind of an effect the constant internet premiere is going to have on the youth. I know a lot of people are, you know, becoming more keen with the internet, and they're able to, you know, take what they want from it and leave the rest alone. But I just personally think it's really important to support and try as best to, you know, create full-length videos and have something physical that can come out. And even if it takes a little longer, you know, I think skateboarding is about patience, and good skateboarding takes time. You can't rush it. And,
fully.
And I think, you know, there's just a lot of pressure to just produce, and especially for sponsored skateboarders, they're being pulled by all their companies at all times to put stuff out on the internet, because the internet is so available, and So there's all this expected from them, and I don't think that they have enough time not only to develop a full quality part, but just to develop their own styles and their own, their own abilities on their own turf, which is what basically what innovated for skateboarding all those times. You see guys from Texas that are doing this type of thing, and you say, well, these guys are, guys from New York are skating this type of way, and these scenes are developing, and now I think everybody's just, kind of watching each other over the internet and just kind of
trying to be like everyone else.
It's just like a wash, like I said, like a gray wash. It's kind of coming together. And I don't know. There are a few things that are going on that are a bit scary in that regard, but I guess we'll see how it works.
Yeah, no, it's a good way to sum it up. Like, and I think one is like instant gratification versus like, because it takes a long time to really show like what a scene's about and have it be authentic, like legit.
Yeah.
Versus like something real quick, like that'll give you like the company will get instant, gratification. It's just like boom, boom, but it doesn't really last and it doesn't really.
Well, it takes a lot of time nowadays, but I think that it's kind of it's coming from that internet dynamic. It's like if you multitask and you're doing a bunch of things all at once, you may think like you're getting a lot done, but you're actually doing a bunch of things really slowly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like that's the same thing. Like the internet may be having a bunch of things coming out, but they're like low quality. And whereas there was a time when 411 came out with an issue every 2 months.
Yeah.
And there was tons of great footage in each one of those, but because people
even then people complained about 411. I remember like even when back then people thought like 411 was making it too instant, which is crazy because now 411 looks like it shows how far.
4-on-1, it looks like a horse and plow or something.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. Well, shit. I guess what's your take on Rob Dyrdek kind of buying back Workshop? That's another.
I don't have a take on it just yet. It's actually not official, official yet, and I haven't gotten to discuss with Chad or with Mike or Carter anything of. I think Chad just had a meeting with Dyrdek, and we discussed some of the terms. I think it's good that that the company is going to be skater-owned again.
Yeah, totally.
And, I think Rob has a huge respect for Alien Workshop, and Alien Workshop has a huge respect for him as his involvement in the company. So I think he'll probably just try and make things easier for us and try and allow Hill and Carter to do what they love to do and to promote their message better, because I know that they're running into a lot of red tape at Burton while they were doing that.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
All right. So going, and then have you guys talked about like board graphics and stuff? Like, how soon are you guys? Did they give you any time frame for getting them?
No, I have to call them though because.
I mean, that was the premise of the whole thing, right? Like putting the...
Yeah, well, they said, they congratulated us on going pro after the part came out and this and that, but I don't know. I wasn't presented with the board or any kind of a time frame. I'm hoping that, I know Hill's designing a graphic, and I gave him some suggestions for it and stuff, so hopefully within the next few months, there'll be some boards out, and hopefully people will be hyped and trying to scoop them up.
What kind of graphic are you? Anything?
I don't know. I told him to do something with like I gave him this book of like really strange architectural structures that are like man-made throughout history.
Wow.
And I told him to do something with like a geodesic dome or something with like just kind of play on like humans' ingenuity within building structures, because that's kind of something I'm into.
Yeah, that's sick. That's gotta be crazy too, just to see like a Workshop graphic with your name on it, like after.
I honestly, I don't really even. It's like I don't even feel like like it's like a pro or like I don't know. I don't feel, like it's not really like. I mean, that's a kind of a corny thing to say, but it's really like like I've worked hard for it and everything, but it is going to be really strange to see the board, and I think that I'm gonna, as the year goes on, and I get to enjoy the benefits and perks of pro lifestyle. I guess I'll start making those decisions, whether I want to compete in the Maloof money or in the the money cups and all the other things that go along with that. Who knows? maybe I'll have a bunch of corporate sponsors trying to get me on board and ride for Starburst or something.
Probably gets harder to turn down when it's like they're offering a giant amount of cash and like,
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think there's a way to use use your enemies for your own benefit. It's kind of an art of war thing. So it's like, I'm trying to figure that out, but we'll see. Like, I just want to keep skating, stay healthy, and put out quality stuff.
Oh yeah. I guess I just wanted to ask because basically Gilbert, both you and Gilbert are come from back east, and like he kind of moved out here and then moved back. Like, what do you think of do you think there's still kind of that concept that you got to kind of move out west to make it, or is it kind of like now? I mean, obviously with the internet, you can kind of stay like back east and get exposure wherever you are. I mean,
I think that's one thing that the internet is really a really positive thing about the internet is that idea that I have to move to California to be seen is almost completely gone, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's still there because people still want to move to California, but the idea that you have to go there, the industry's there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing a lot of kids on the East Coast coming up, and a lot of kids from internet fame coming up. I'm on tour with Mark Suchu right now. I mean, he's from California, but he pretty much just put out some crazy footage when he was like between the ages of 13 and 16, and that's all he had to do. And it's like that kind of following is great. It's a connection of skaters. I grew up in a town that had no skate shop and no skaters, and if I had the internet, I actually did. That's the thing. I was on a generation that was on the border of the internet.
Yeah.
I was on Instant Messenger in 1998.
Yeah.
I was, I was one of the original users. I didn't have to put numbers after my name, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I was using it. I was meeting kids at camp, Woodward, and I was keeping in touch with them. We were transferring footage in these barbaric ways and putting them up on these like little animation comedy websites that also had skateboarding. And then I was meeting up with them actually in person, like taking trips to New York, and that's basically what allowed me to move to New York. And networking that started when I was 13 years old at a camp. And so I think that's, I appreciate that a lot, and that aspect of the internet. And I think that's one thing that it's good for is connecting people and showing people the things that that you're doing. But it's just got to be a quality thing, And so I think that that's cool. A lot of kids nowadays, like, they have the ability to get that following and that respect from those videos. But at the same time, if they're trying to make those videos, just that the option is there. Like, I could become famous on the internet. That's when the seed is planted that I need to use this in a certain way, and you start preconceiving. I don't know. I think that it's like any kid who's creative and an individual, and is doing something as best as he can in his environment, in his local area, people are gonna take notice, and word of mouth is gonna get around, and the internet's just gonna heighten that. But either way, that's gonna get around. So that's your only responsibility is just to skate, like develop your own style and just do it as best you can, and people will take notice. If you're good enough, there's room for you and in the industry,
Yeah, one thing about the internet, I think that's for sure, is like no matter where it's from, you can still basically tell like basically cool from like dudes that are being kooks, like it's not hard to tell, like no matter how far away it comes from, like it's still like if it's authentic, like it comes through or whatever, So.
For sure.
And then I just have one more on it seems like kind of in that Cinematographer Project video, like, it kind of goes through like highs and lows where like California kind of schoolyard background is like, pretty, it's like the shit, and then it seems like now it's kind of coming back to where almost, like there were so many parts of that video where it was just like dudes like raw street skating, like out in the streets in like London or New York or wherever. Is that kind of like, do you think that kind of skating's kind of going to come up again, like kind of as an alternative,
I think it is. I think that skating has gotten to a technical point where there's not too many people that can really push the boundaries of that. You got nuggets and even like Mark Suchu and kids like these. There's a small group of people who have the technical ability, or the gnarliness. Like it's like I don't know. It seems to me like Jamie Thomas and those guys were pretty much like at the top of the game on handrails and stuff like that. Even back in 10 years ago, it's like so it got to a certain point, and I think it's kind of turning around where because there's not many more sets of stairs that you can kickflip. There's not really too many more ways that you can really flip in and out of a trick, and it's going to start coming back to just style and spot selection, and I myself I see it all over the place where kids may just be doing a back lip down a 9-stair rail, but if it's over some kind of a gap or it's something interesting, like I think that's going to become more and more evident. And hopefully with a more educated population of young skateboarders, but that it'll become evident that the visual experience is what skateboarding is all about, and finding those unique locations and those interesting spots that incite like certain ideas and emotions to the viewer. Like that's the most important thing, and I think that's really cool. And that so that's one thing that I think we'll look forward to seeing. And I've said it before, is a lot of unique skaters and unique spots coming through the internet and through these smaller towns and a lot of these homemade skate videos and that are going to be popping up that we see all over the place, because that's one thing. As the industry, the top-heavy industry gets like bigger and bigger, it's like you're still seeing in a lot of other countries as it's spreading, like the kind of the beginnings of their communities, and they kind of have the same aspects as far as like the devotion to the act of skating as the original
fully
industry had, but it's just on a different level and in smaller scale. But so you're still seeing these passionate people really trying to put their mark and create their thing, and that's one thing I'm really excited about. In all these little small countries and small companies that are coming out of them, and so I think that it's going to be exciting to see that type of stuff. I already really enjoy seeing Magenta and Palace and a lot of these smaller companies from over there that really make unique and interesting stuff, and Polar and
I just saw the Polar video right before I called you. It's fucking rad. Just the intro video is amazing.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to see, and I think that I don't know, there was a period there where it looked like it was going to get a little bit out of hand with the stair counting, from zeros dying to live and up to fully flared and the technical aspects of it, but I think there are some skaters that are, really making their mark, that are encouraging kids to just, get a little more stylish and a little more creative with what they do, and try and go that way.
Oh yeah. All right, I got two more. What pro out there would you kind of feel like you would like to model yourself after? Who do you think kind of carries the message right, or without starving, I guess?
I would say that, let me think. One second. Hold on. I'm having a really bad, just brain lapse right now. Remind me the name of the skateboarder who runs Polar, who's like one of the greatest wall riders in skateboarding. Pontus. I always just skips my mind for some reason. I've been following Pontus pretty closely for the last few years, and I don't know exactly what his financial state is. I'm not really concerned with that, but it seems like he lives, his life pretty, he lives a good life, and he's able to have money to put into these DIY projects and build all these really unique skate spots and really interesting artistic installments all over his country. And
yeah.
And so, if anything, I say I would probably model myself after him. You know, he's not all over the place, but whenever you do see something from him, it's always really well thought out. And you know, he takes his artistic aspect like really far, and he does. It's all, I think, his own filming and his own ideas and stuff. So he controls the quality of what he does really closely. And
I feel like
honestly, if I could do it, if I could, I would be a combination between Pontus Alv and Heath Kirktride. I would try to mold those two together so that I could have, you know what I mean, the best of both of them. Because Heath, at the same time, is someone who's taken his skating like very, very seriously in the eyes of the industry, and he really, really, you know, as far as the level of his skating, he takes it in a very like rigorous and like professional way. The way that he goes to skate spots and he does things. It's a do-it-yourself thing, but it's kind of on a different level. And I want to bring those two things together. You know, I want to be, you know, I want to be filming parts that are pushing, you know, the limits of skating for myself and pushing myself at all times. But I also want to be a creative force, and I want to be building skate parks and skatable objects as well, and you know, giving skateboarders that that sense that you can create your own world. You know, because that's something that I believe, you know, to my core, is that this world is the heaven and the hell. It just depends on how you know, what you do to create it.
Totally.
So,
and like Pontus is like one of those guys. I feel like the message or whatever of skateboarding, like he definitely, like you can see it in even the graphic design, or like in search for the miraculous. Like even the names he chooses are just like, that's what, I don't know, like that's what I wanted from skating when I started. You know what I mean? Like it's like, he just is on. He's got the message, like,
for sure.
Sick.
All right, so can we wrap this last one up real quick? Because I actually just got a call from Nick Penza. I think he's at the airport. I need to go pick him up.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much done. I was just going to ask, do you think skydiving's gotten too mainstream?
Skydiving? Yeah, definitely. The guys that were doing it were all tools.
It's not about the spots anymore, dude.
No, they were very competitive-minded. They were all trying to give me chest bumps and pounds and throwing left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't really have too much of a message. You know, I tried to talk to them about it. You know, like, wow, it's really cool to see the Earth from this height. Like, it's really interesting. Like, you know, interacting with the gravity. They're just like, yeah, bro, cool, bro. Yeah, we're about to jump out that plane, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely shooting on HD, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely way too mainstream.
Oh yeah, that's cool, man. Well, shit, that's awesome, dude. I'll let you go. That's a ton of good stuff.
Yeah, it's plenty for you to decipher through. And,
for sure, dude. Cool, man. Well, thanks for calling back, and good luck with the trip. That sounds rad, the little tour.
Yeah, for sure. If you can help, I don't know if you do Twitter, if Transworld has one, but if you guys could forward and, you know, word of mouth at Matt Masquerade Twitter, Matt Masquerade Instagram, and A Sense of Direction Facebook, and that's my website.
Okay, shit. I'll pass it on to Blair, and I can put it on mine, and he can put it on his or whatever.
Yeah, we're just trying, you know, it's a contest, so the more followers we have, the more people can get product, and more people can win. So it's
Matt Masquerade?
Matt Masquerade, yeah, at Twitter and at Instagram.
Okay, sick, dude. Hell yeah.
All right, Mackenzie, appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, man, take it easy. Peace.
All right, later.
Later, ciao.